Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 26th, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery. And if you look closely, you can see the marine layer pushing up against Vancouver Island, down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, into the Puget Sound. You can even see some of the valleys into the Cascades there with the marine layer. But a lot of this is going to burn off during the day today. Nice, glorious day across the region, slightly above average temperatures expected. But we're going to redevelop thunderstorm activity here, mainly Cascades east and across the higher terrain over the next few days. We'll take a look at those details. We'll take a look at the extended forecast as always as well here in a moment. This is Paradise Mount Rainier. You can see even some cumulus clouds starting to build. Can't rule out a thunderstorm up there, so eyes on the sky if you're across some of the higher terrain of the Cascades. If you see those cumulus clouds building during the day, watch out for thunderstorm activity. Definitely no marine layer up there, way too high, and you can see kind of the old snowfall there across the visitor center. This is Spokane National Weather Service here. Flood watch for flash flooding, and I'd like to see them include a little bit more of the North Cascades here. These slow-moving storms here, torrential downpours, and especially watch out if you're near any burn scar areas. This is Pendleton, and you can see some of the Blue Mountains are going to be targeted the next few days. The Cascades, even Mount Rainier, can't rule out a thunderstorm here as we go through the day today. This is Missoula, Montana, kind of scattered showers and thunderstorms, rinse and repeat for at least the next 3 days there. Heavy rain and small hail, the main threats. Day one, I wouldn't worry about thunderstorms coming over the Puget Sound lowlands here today, but it could be Cascades east, and some of these storms are going to be trying to creep out of the east towards the west here, but they shouldn't make it too far out over the lower elevations. This would be day two for Tuesday, and this would be Wednesday, rinse and repeat. Now, this is looking at the dynamic tropopause. You can see Alaska, BC, Washington, big ridge over Texas, general troughing here, kind of across the Pacific Northwest, weak troughing, I should say, and it is spinning here, and that's what's going to redevelop that thunderstorm activity here for the next few days. But then you can see kind of this ridge start to build into the area here, but not a monster ridge, not a huge heat wave, but we could warm up still fairly significantly here across Pacific Northwest. And you can see there would be some troughs trying to move across the northern portions here that could still be bringing some onshore flow, keeping us from getting too hot, but definite warm up looks like it's in the cards here as we go through the extended. This is looking at 3-hour precipitation on the European as of last night. So I scroll through today and you can see some of these amounts going across the Cascades. And again, some of these amounts could be pretty heavy here. Some torrential downpours possible here, and some of these areas are going to be subject to locally higher amounts where these storms do set up. So as we go through the day today, we wane that thunderstorm activity, go back into Tuesday afternoon, and again for many areas, rinse and repeat. Go on in through Wednesday here. And again, one more day of chances across the Cascades here for thunderstorm activity. And then that ridge starts to build in here and we start to kick this activity off to the east. You can see we keep it constrained mainly to Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, some of Alberta, the Rocky Mountains there across British Columbia there for the most part here as we start to warm up across Pacific Northwest. This is a high resolution rapid refresh. We go through the afternoon today and you can kind of see the spin in the atmosphere here and the redevelopment of thunderstorms. This is lightning flash density potential. So as we go through the day today, and you can see that wane by the time you get into the nighttime hours. This is day one excessive rainfall outlook. Again, just calling attention to the northern Cascades there. And this is looking at the European last night's run here, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. There's that general troughing. It's going to redevelop those thunderstorms for the next few days. But then look as we go on through on into Thursday here, you can see this ridge start to build across the region and kick that troughing off to the east there somewhat. So we're going to start to restrict that thunderstorm potential here as we go on in through the end of the week, at least for a time being. This is Seattle yesterday, 79 degrees, 6 degrees above average. By the time you get towards the end of June, 74 is the average high for Seattle. And you can see we've got 5 days without precip. And we're probably going to go at least another week without precipitation here at SeaTac. It is the dry time of the year and nothing looks like it's imminent. This is looking at the National Blend of Models. There's Seattle above average again today, nice and warm across Pacific Northwest. We're scrolling day by day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You can see pretty consistently warm temperatures across the region here. 4th of July, you can see some 80s even across the Puget Sound, maybe even a 90-degree reading across the Willamette Valley, upper 90s eastern Washington. So yeah, looks like a nice 4th of July in store for much of the Pacific Northwest. And the main takeaway of this is the above average temperatures here we're looking at over the next 10 days or so. This is the European, and all these temperatures are above average for Seattle here. And you can see we could get some warmer days here right around the 4th of July. So we'll be watching that one closely. This is 10-day precipitation anomalies. You can see the dry conditions across western Washington, Oregon, all the way up the BC coast. Maybe some above average here as the thunderstorm activity might give some of these higher amounts. This is all the way through 10 days, not a drop for Seattle or for Portland here, or a lot of the Willamette Valley or Southwest BC here, mainly constrained to the higher terrain with that thunderstorm activity here. So yeah, it is the dry time of year here across the Pacific Northwest, folks. And this is a 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook all the way through July 5th. Big bullseye here across much of the Pacific Northwest. Check it out. You're looking up towards 80% probability of above average temperatures. Here's the 8 to 14 day all the way through July 9th here. And, again, above average looks like the rule. 6 to 10 day precipitation, big bullseye here. 8 to 14 day kind of a below average signal here across a lot of the west. And this is the drought monitor. I've been talking about this for the last few days, but we've got moderate drought across some of the Cascades now. So hopefully we can be careful about getting those fire starts going across some of the Cascades of Oregon, Washington, and even across the Rockies of Idaho, Montana as well. So let's just be careful there out in the backcountry. This is looking at sea surface temperature anomalies. Have been showing this the last few days. You can see the La Nina here. So what we're looking at is a central equatorial Pacific Ocean. This is South America, maritime continent here, and there's Africa. So we measure those El Nino, La Nina conditions here across the equatorial Pacific, and that lines up with that. You can see how we moved from La Nina into the neutral territory here, and you can see the very warm water along the coast of South America. And as we scroll through this, we're going 5-day chunks at a time. You can see the development of El Nino here across that central equatorial Pacific. And as we move on into June there, you can really see that warm up occurring. So El Nino definitely on its way here. And this shows you that we are officially at moderate El Nino conditions now. Look at that. 1.0 Celsius. That's the temperature anomaly. And you can see the climb out of La Nina here towards that moderate El Nino conditions here across that Niño 3.4 region, right across the equator. There would be Hawaii, that would be Mexico there, there's South America, and Australia in the bottom left there. This is looking at the probability for El Nino, virtually 100%. We have to get these conditions for 3 straight months to be officially in an El Nino, to officially call it that, but we are almost certainly onto those conditions. And you can see CFS forecast. Look at this. You can see that average right up towards 2 degrees there. And once you get above 1.5, you're considered in strong El Nino. And we're right about there. We're right on that threshold of being in a moderate El Nino as we speak. You can see that was updated today, June 26th. So yeah, anyway, El Nino is on its way here, folks. It's going to be an interesting fall and winter coming up here. And just because it's an El Nino doesn't mean you can't get snowstorms here across Pacific Northwest. You can get big rainstorms. You can get atmospheric rivers. Anything can still happen during the winter months. I don't want to make it seem like we're just headed for this warm, nice, cushy fall, winter / spring period into 2024, because that's not how it works. You can get some pretty interesting weather here across the Pacific Northwest, even during El Nino years. It just means we're likely to be warmer than normal, especially once you get on into January, February, and March of 2024. The probabilities go way up, but it's not a slam dunk. It's just a probabilistic forecast. So anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. If you guys want to buy that weather station here and monitor the weather at your home, click on the link down below. I'll include it today. It looks like people are buying it. I'm excited for everybody being able to keep track of weather at your own home. And yeah, so we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.